Let's talk about 5 most delicious Swedish desserts that will blow your mind. This is part 2 in the little mini series I am doing in this channel about Swedish food. In part 1, which I have linked it up here and in the description, I've talked about my favorite Swedish food that I only discovered once I moved to Sweden. So check it out if you haven't already. In this video, I will cover my favorite Swedish treats. I have a lot of favorites as I have a sweet tooth. And if I talk about all of them, then this video will probably be an hour long. So instead of boring you with all my talk about Swedish sweets, I'll just bring you my absolute top 5 Swedish desserts, the ones I go to over and over again. Let's dig in. First up, we have Prinsesstårta, or in English, princess cake. This was actually one of the first Swedish cakes I ever tried, and I was blown away by both its appearance and the taste. This beautiful cake is made with layers of light sponge cake, raspberry jam, and pastry cream, all topped off with a layer of green marzipan. Not only is it stunning to look at, but it's also absolutely delicious. It's quite popular for birthday celebrations, or sometimes even when people are gathering at home, they will have it for Fika. Coming from Tanzania, where our cakes usually have denser pound cake texture with buttercream or sugar paste fillings, seeing a cake with layers of whipped cream was a bit of a surprise. But once I tried it, I loved it. So if you spot a Prinsesstårta in a cafe while visiting Sweden, definitely grab a slice. And if you are living in Sweden, you can easily find them in grocery stores, ready-made, waiting for you to take it home. Or if you are very adventurous, you can try to make one. I have never done it. This is one of those typical Swedish treats that you just have to try. Up next, we've got the Swedish Strawberry Cake, or as they call it, Jordgubbstårta. With summer almost behind us, I thought it would be a great time to bring back some of those sweet summer memories. Jordgubbstårta is this light, airy cake made with layers of sponge cake and fresh strawberries mixed together with cream cheese. The result is so tasty and refreshing. And you probably guessed it, it's super popular during the summer when there is plenty of strawberries. The strawberry cake is also a classic during the midsummer celebrations. If you're in Sweden during the summer, this cake is the perfect way to soak up the taste of Swedish summer. Trust me, you can't go wrong with it. And you will find it in many bakeries around the country, or even grocery stores. This is also one of those cakes that is quite easier to make at home. So if you live in Sweden and it's the strawberry season, just try it out. And next up is Kladdkaka, the Swedish take on a chocolate brownie. It's one of the most loved and super popular Swedish dessert. Now, let me tell you, I'm a huge fan of anything chocolatey. I have tasted some pretty amazing brownies and molten chocolate cakes in my life. But the first time I had Kladdkaka, it completely blew my mind. Kladdkaka is rich, fudgy, and has this gooey center that's to die for. It's similar to a brownie, but doesn't use baking soda or baking powder, which gives it that extra fudgy texture. And you can say that it's a little bit healthier. What I love most about Kladdkaka is how incredibly easy it is to make it. You just toss all the ingredients into a bowl, give it a quick mix, bake for about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how gooey you like it, and voila, you've got a masterpiece that will have your dinner guests or your friends thinking you're a pastry chef. If you were asked to try only one Swedish treat, then this is the one. I promise you, you will be in chocolate heaven. And if you are a chocoholic like me, this is an absolute must try. Even if you have never baked a cake before in your life, this is one of those foolproof recipes where the results will always be perfect. I promise you. Traditionally, Kladdkaka is served with whipped cream. I also love having it with some good quality vanilla ice cream. It's the perfect combo. I wouldn't do this list justice if I didn't mention the Swedish cinnamon buns, or Kanelbullar. You might be thinking, aren't cinnamon buns pretty much the same everywhere? I know, but trust me, Kanelbullar are in a league of their own. These buns are soft and fluffy, packed with a generous cinnamon filling, and the dough is spiced with cardamom, which gives them a unique twist. Kanelbullars, they don't have this sticky sugar glaze on top. They are sprinkled with pearl sugar instead, making them lighter than the British or American versions, which makes them perfect with a cup of tea or coffee. These are one of the most beloved treats in Sweden, and they are quite common during Fika, the traditional Swedish coffee break. They are also incredibly delicious when made from scratch, in my view. I love how creative you can get with the shapes. Once you try these, you will see why they are such a big deal here in Sweden. Lastly, we have semlor, another Swedish treat that you absolutely have to try. These fluffy buns are filled with almond paste and whipped cream, and they are traditionally enjoyed before Lent. I remember having my first semlor at work. It was such a unique experience. In the best possible way, of course. Picture biting into a soft bun with a delicious mix of almond paste and lightly flavored whipped cream. It's surprisingly refreshing. Semlor are especially popular in February, so if you find yourself in Sweden during that time, make sure you grab one. You will not regret it. I know I said 5, but other Swedish treats worth trying are kardemummabollar, or in English, cardamom buns. These buns are packed with fresh cardamom, so you really have to love that spice to appreciate them. It's a lot of cardamom and it's so delicious. Then we have lucia buns, also known as lusebullar or lussekatter, which are a Swedish classic during the Christmas season. I love how simple they are, spiced with just saffron, which makes them incredibly delicious. Swedish pancakes are another comfort food you can't miss. They are thinner and much lighter, with a crepe-like texture, usually served with blueberry jam and whipped cream. They make a perfect breakfast or dessert. Everyone loves them. After living in Sweden for a while, I've also noticed that Swedish pancakes are a popular dessert option during husmanskost days in restaurants, when traditional comfort food is on the menu, and usually this is during lunch. I love making them at home for Sunday brunch. They are simple but so tasty and contains a lot of eggs, so they gotta be healthy. And speaking of Sunday brunch, you've got to try the Swedish waffle. They are usually much thinner than other types of waffles, which makes them crispy on the outside and soft in the inside. So delicious. They are typically topped with whipped cream, fresh fruits, and a drizzle of syrup. I make them at home so often, and my kids love them. And there are so many waffle cafes around Sweden. Definitely worth a visit. Trust me, you will be pleasantly surprised. Or if you're feeling a little bit adventurous, just make them at home. You just need a Swedish waffle maker, which you can find easily in most electronic or grocery stores here. And recipes are all over Google. Or maybe one day I will share my go-to Swedish waffle recipe. You know what I've learned about Swedish food or Swedish desserts? You just need to find one recipe that works, and then you perfect it, and voila, you will be making this at home all the time, and the result would always be the same. We've come to an end. Those are my top 5 Swedish desserts that you definitely need to try. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out my other videos displayed in the little boxes just by my side. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. I promise you, I have lots of great topics up my sleeves coming your way, and it will make my channel to grow. So I really appreciate it if you do it. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Hej då!